Hi, I'm Rebecca and this is my reality, and today I'm going to talk about everything you need to know on your first trip or even maybe your second trip going to Disney. We're going to talk about what you need to know before you go, what you should pack, how to get through security. We are going to cover everything from A to Z on how to have a good time at Disney. Before we begin, would you mind hitting subscribe and like if this is the kind of content you like to see? I pretty much only do Disney. Not pretty much, I only do Disney. I'm talking about Disneyland because the two parks are very different, and what will work at one park wouldn't necessarily work for another park. So we are focusing on Disneyland in this video. I'm gonna try my best not to look down too much, but I am going off. I wrote everything out. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. Before you even go, download the app. You have to have the app. Make sure every adult that is going with you also downloads it. Not only do you need to download it, but you should also connect your card, whether it's your debit card, your credit card, connect some sort of card to the app. And the other thing you should connect to it is your park ticket as well. And then that way everything is all in one place. You definitely want to connect your card to it because that is going to be the best way to order food, and we'll go over more of that later. And then also something just to note, even though you're going to be on vacation, and oftentimes people want to go on vacation to disconnect, you will be on your phone. Not necessarily the whole time, but using that app is really kind of vital to navigating the park and having a good time and not waiting in lines. You will want every adult to do this as well. And the reason for that is because then, one, they can keep track of their own ticket, and two, the more important thing is so that they can buy their own food and potentially their own lightning lanes. You can obviously purchase all the food on one person, but then it just gets kind of cumbersome and difficult if you're splitting the bill. If you're just one family, then one person can be handling it, but even then I would suggest both parents doing it because it's not fair to have only one person doing all of it. It's just not ideal to have only one person doing it. Plus sometimes the app will fail. Not so much fail, but I have this happen to me almost once every trip. I barely use my credit card, my Disney debit card, throughout the year, but then when I'm at Disney, it's basically the only thing I'm using because I get a discount. It always gets shut off. I always get an alert fraud alert, fraud alert. And so then I have to call my bank and I'm like, no, that's me. You see increased spending because I'm at Disney. And so while I'm getting that figured out, then my sister is who I oftentimes go with, then she's still able to keep us on top of things and stuff. So anyways, that's before you go. Another thing before you go, just know it's going to be crowded. There's going to be lines. There's going to be kids having fits, things of that nature. So just go into it knowing that. And for me, at least, I have a better time just kind of anticipating it and be like, all right, well, this is just how it is. There are ways to beat the lines. I'm not going to go with that into detail for this video. This video is really going to be beginner level. If you like this video, I can do a part 2 where we get more advanced. Comment down below if you want a part 2. Okay, the next thing is what to pack. You will be walking so much. I think I read somewhere that the average person that goes to Disney walks anywhere from 15 to 20,000 steps a day when you're at Disneyland. So pack good shoes and make sure they're not brand new. Also pack extra socks and or sandals, especially if you plan on going on any of the water rides. It is not fun to have wet feet. And if you plan on going on Tiana's Bayou or Grizzly River Run, your feet will get wet. And ideally you should change into your sandals before you get on the ride and then change into your dry shoes when you get off the ride. So just either pack extra shoes, sandals, extra socks, something like that. Bring that to the park with you, and then obviously pack it in your luggage. And then also pack a magic band if you already have one. This is just a reminder to pack it and the charger, because if you spent the money on it, you would hate to forget to bring it. And it is fun to use and it does help a little bit throughout the park. Bring a backup charger for your phone as well. Trust me, you will need it. I highly recommend these, the fuel rod. And the reason why I recommend these is because these are sold at Disney. And the nice thing about them being sold at Disney is you can actually deposit this into the station that they're sold at, and it'll give you a new one completely charged. So if you forget to charge this, you can just drop it off and get a new one at the park. So that's why I recommend these. Plus they're small, they're lightweight. When you buy them, they come with a couple of different attachments, so they can work for multiple phones, multiple devices. So definitely just trust me, you're gonna need it because you will be on your phone, like I said earlier. Also note, it gets cold. Like when that sun goes down, it gets cold, like cold. And I live in the Pacific Northwest, okay? And every time the sun goes down, I end up having to put on a sweater. And then if it gets like really dark and I'm there pretty late, I end up needing pants as well. Like it gets really cold. So make sure you pack something warm. Like yes, you're gonna be in California. Yes, it's typically sunny and warm during the day, but when that sun goes down, it's cold. Now we're gonna talk about where to stay. Of course, the closer you are, the more it's gonna cost. There's on property and then there's off property. On property, there's 3 different hotels: Grand California, Pixar, and Disneyland. Grand California is considered a luxury, so it's about $1,000 a night. So it's pretty spendy, but you are like in the park. From the hotel, you can actually enter DCA. And then Pixar and Disney, they run anywhere from $500 to $800 to $900 a night. Just depends on like basically when you're going. It's always more expensive during around the holidays and things of that nature. I believe Pixar is supposed to be the like value resort, but it's still pretty spendy. And then there's really close but not on property, which is basically across the street. The closer you are to like the main entrance of Disneyland, the higher it gets. Like the hotel that's directly across the street is about $1,000 a night. And then as you go out, it gets a tiny bit cheaper, but it's typically like that first immediate stretch that's directly across Disney is anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a night. And then the further you go out, the cheaper it gets. Of course, you can go even further down and like maybe outside of what would be considered walking distance for you. Some hotels do offer a shuttle, but then some hotels will say they have a shuttle, but really they're just referring to public transit. So just make sure you really read the details of wherever you're staying. I personally like to stay within walking distance, and walking distance for me is less than 1 mile. And I find I can find a really reasonable cost and a nice place. And then that way also like I'm able to just come and go as I please. So that's my personal favorite, is to stay off property and just down a little bit. I'm typically literally like across the street from it, but I'm like kitty corner from it. The next thing is getting through security. You wouldn't think that this would be a topic, but it is. And the reason for this, and the reason why I bring this up, is that a lot of people don't realize that they are going to check every single bag you bring. So if you're bringing a stroller and there's tons of bags all over the place, you got to open all of those, okay? So when you get there, be prepared, open everything. And if you have a bag in a bag, you have to open that one up too. I really like to bring bags that have clear fronts on them, because if they can see inside of it, they just take like a quick look at it. If they can see everything, then you're on your way. But basically, as you're approaching, once you're like the person behind the next person or something like that, like when you're second in line, start opening things up. And the more you have, you might want to start opening up a few people down, because it really slows down the line if you don't have all of that ready. Things that you cannot bring that I think are more common that happen is, 1, selfie sticks. You cannot bring anything that extends. If it extends, they will not let you keep it. They will tell you to take it back to your hotel. They will not hold on to it for you. And anything that is like self-defense, like pepper spray or anything like that, you cannot bring that into the park. There is a whole list. Those are just some of the more common things. So make sure you check the website before going so you don't accidentally bring something that you're not allowed to, because they will not allow you to bring it. You are allowed to bring your own food and drink though. You can bring all the food and drink that you want. That is okay. Also at security, you will walk through a metal detector, so just make sure you take everything out of your pockets. If you have like a watch on that you know is going to set it off, something like that. That's another thing just to be prepared for, to just help the line go a little faster. Now you've gotten through security, let's enter the park. When you get to the gate, make sure you have all of your tickets ready. I know that sounds like so common sense, but you'd be surprised how many times people are fumbling to find everything. That is why you wanted to download the app and put all the tickets on the app. And in this case, I would recommend having all of the tickets at least on one person's phone, because then that one person can just be like, ticket, 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 and then everybody can go in. Upon your very first entry, so like if this is day one for you, they will take your picture, and they have to take everybody's picture, and then they connect it to the ticket, and then every time you like re-enter the park, then the picture will come up. And you can come and go out of the park as much as you want for the day that you have your ticket. Finally in the park now, yay! This one kind of depends on how many people you have. I always tell people, pick your top priority things that you really want to do. The bigger the group, the smaller your priority list is going to be. The smaller your group, the bigger your priority list is going to be. I would definitely recommend picking out what your tops are, especially if you have a larger group, like 4 or more. Everybody pick like 1 or 2, because it is impossible to get everything done in the park, especially if you have a big crowd. Okay, it's not impossible, but it's hard, and you're gonna be there all day. I've definitely gone with a friend, and we opened and closed the park, and we did ride every ride, but there was only 2 of us, and we had Lightning Lane, and we paid for the extra ride, which we can get into that later. This way, everyone will feel satisfied and happy with their trip, that they at least got to do like their top things, and then you can plan your day around that. Especially if you get Lightning Lane, you have to be kind of strategic with when you do certain rides, and then also knowing everybody's top priority. It might mean you need to rope drop to get on that ride. Rope dropping is a good way to get on Rise of Resistance without having to wait an hour to 2 hours for it. I find that's the best way to keep everyone happy. Plus, you'll have a little bit of structure in your day, especially if some people, like their top priority is certain snacks and such, then you can order it on the app, like when you think you're going to be getting hungry. And speaking of getting hungry, the next thing is know when you think you're going to want to eat. I am telling you, the best way to save time is to order your food in the app. Do not wait in line. You will waste so much of your day if you wait in line for food, because you can just order it on the app. The thing with the app though is that you have to pick a time, and sometimes that time isn't right when you want it. So like say it's 12 and you're like, oh, I want to eat something right now. It might not be available until 1, depending on what you're ordering and where you're ordering it from. Especially in those lunch hours, like between 11 and 1, a lot of people are ordering. So make sure you are planning ahead with your food and your snacks and things of that nature. That might sound a little frustrating, but I'm telling you, I do it every single time. And I have probably passed hundreds of people at this point that have waited in line for their food versus just ordering it. And then you go up at your designated time, you go directly to the counter, you grab your food, and you walk away. And I'm not even kidding about the hundreds. I have gone to Disney a lot and I eat pretty much in the park all the time. But I'm telling you, it is a surefire way to save so much time. Just figure it out, okay? Do it on the app. And I am so sorry, I did not define rope drop. If this is your entry level, you don't know what that means, right? Okay, so rope drop means basically you get there at park opening. Like you were there even before it opens, because they technically allow you into the park before they actually like completely open the park. You come in, you're like standing by the castle, and then at whatever time the park opens, we'll say 8, they drop the ropes, and then everybody can go wherever they're going. That is a really good way to kind of like beat the crowds, and because it's like the first set of people going, normally like a lot of people are just getting on. You're not having to wait for people to get off and then get on, so it goes a bit faster. And while we're talking about scheduling, you're gonna wanna schedule your day a little bit. I know that can be kind of annoying to hear because you're on vacation, you just wanna be like, go with the flow. If you go with the flow, you might lose out, you might miss things, you might get in line at the worst possible time and wait twice as long if you just had planned on doing it a few hours earlier. So definitely plan your day. A typical day for me, I personally like to rope drop. And depending on what ride you're rope dropping and what portion of the park you're rope dropping, you can either ride one ride really quickly before the lines like start to build up, or you can ride 10 rides. Like if you go for the rides that are a little less popular, you end up getting a lot of rides done within that first hour. My sister and I one time rope dropped Fantasyland, and we did every single ride in Fantasyland within like 45 minutes. That's like 4 or 5 rides. So we like to rope drop, and then midday we typically go back to the hotel, refresh, take a nap, something like that. And then in a few hours we go back, and when it gets, the later it gets, the less crowded it gets as well. So you might be able to beat some of those wait times if you tend to stay at the park pretty late. You do run into the possibility though that a ride will go down and they won't turn it back on. Sometimes rides go down and they typically are good about getting them back up and running. But if they know it's going to take too long to restart a ride, they'll just close it for the night. So like say they're open till midnight and you're there at 10 or 10:30 and you try to get on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. If it like for whatever reason broke, they might not open it back up. So waiting to ride your favorite ride at the very end of the day can work, but you risk missing out on it. That one's a little bit more risky. But the later you're there, I'm telling you, there's less crowds. It's a good time to go if you can manage to stay up late. Now we're just going to cover a little bit of few extra things I'm going to sprinkle in here that don't just nicely fit into what I've already talked about. So the extras. Lightning lane, what is that? That is something you purchase extra to basically skip the line. You pick your ride, you find an availability, you schedule it, and then you get to skip the line. But it's only through a certain time. So say it's 10 o'clock and you want to ride Matterhorn, but it's not available till 10. So you schedule it till 10 and then you have to wait till 10 to ride that ride and then skip the line. Once you've rode it, you can then book another one. You typically can only book one ride at a time, or if 2 hours have elapsed. So say you book something at 9, you can book something again then at 11 if you haven't gone on that 9 o'clock one yet. So it's just basically whichever one comes first. You either use it and then you can book another one, or 2 hours goes by and then you can have 2 booked at one time. Is it worth it? That is so subjective to every single person, in my personal opinion, because it is an extra cost. And for me, being one person, whatever, you know, it's an extra like $30. But if you're a family of 4 or 5, it can really, really add up. And it also depends on like how long you're going to be at the park for as well. Like, are you going to be there all day? Or do you only have like a limited amount of time, maybe like only 4 to 6 hours or something about that, or something along those lines? It just kind of depends on what your priority is as well. Again, going back to priorities. If your priority is riding all the rides, then you might want to get it because it's a good way to skip the line. I personally always get it. I hate waiting in line. And it is a great way to get on the really popular rides without having to wait like 40, 60, 70, 80 minutes. The other really nice thing with Lightning Lane is that it comes with Photo Pass. So if any of the cast members take your photo, like say in front of the castle or with a character, they scan a QR code on your app or your Magic Band if you have one, and then it automatically gets loaded into the app and then you can download them from there. I really like doing that also, like, because the pictures always turn out really good. It's like really good quality photos, and oftentimes the photographers will like tell you how to pose or what to do. So if you're awkward like me and you don't know what to do with your hands, then it's nice to have that instruction. Okay. Magic bands, what are they? They're exactly that. It's a band. I have 2 and I've actually personalized mine. Mine are bedazzled, and what they are, it's something that kind of helps you stay off your phone a little bit more. So when you scan in for Lightning Lane, you can use your Magic Band, and that way you don't scan your phone. Although, I have to say, scan your Magic Band, you then need to immediately get on your phone to book your next Lightning Lane. So you're only saving like a little bit of time. Eventually, they're going to make it so that you can pay with it. Right now at Disneyland, you're not able to, but that is supposed to be coming. If you stay on property, you can use it to unlock your door. and just kind of sprinkled throughout the park. And it also depends on like what sort of event they have going on. Like right now there's the 70th. You can wave your magic band in front of like random objects, and then those objects will do things. Is it worth it? I don't know. I honestly, at this point, it's not really going to make your trip that much better with the amount of stuff that it does. It's a fun accessory. It's kind of cool. They make a bajillion of them. So, but they're also kind of spendy. They're anywhere from like $35 to $65. So if you have that money to throw away, it is kind of fun. The next item we're going to talk about is Park Hopper. What is Park Hopper? Park Hopper lets you do exactly that. You hop from park to park. And you get to switch park from park starting at 11 o'clock. So once 11 o'clock hits, if you start in Disneyland, you can then go over to DCA. Is Park Hopper worth it? That is so hard to answer, honestly. I went recently for only one day and I felt like it wasn't worth it because I felt like I didn't get to spend enough time in either one of the parks. I kind of feel like I like missed out on the whole park experience because I spent so little time in each park. But when I go for multiple days, I love it. I think it's really cool because you can like start in DCA and then go over to Disneyland. But if you really like DCA and you want to see like World of Color, then you can just go back over there and then catch it. And you can like go back and forth to see shows or whatever it is you want to do. I definitely enjoy it for multiple days, but I honestly wouldn't recommend it for one, at least not in my opinion. I think if you're going once and this is your one and only time, then do it. And that way you get to experience both parks. The other little extra that you can do while you're there is something called dining packages. There are so many. I could do a full video on just the dining packages, but basically what it is it's just that you buy a package to dine at a special restaurant, and it normally comes with some sort of accoutrement, like tons of characters are going to be there, or you get a really good seat at Fantasmic, or there's ones called dessert parties where you get a really good seat at World of Color, and then you get like these little sweet treats, like this whole tray of sweet treats. Some of the dining packages I've done was Goofy's Kitchen, World of Color, the Fantasmic dining package. I have a full video on the Fantasmic dining package, and then me and my sister, we're going to do the princess dinner this next time we go, so subscribe if you want to see how that goes and what that looks like. But there's a ton of different options and the prices vary widely. So for my Fantasmic, that was $58, but the princess breakfast that we're going to do is like $142 or something like that. So it varies widely, but it's a great way to just enhance your Disneyland experience. But of course it comes at a cost. So again, what is your priority? So I recently did the Fantasmic dining package because I always eat at the park anyway. So I was like, well, if I'm already gonna pay for this meal, I might as well get something out of it. So we dined at Rivervale Terrace. I had brunch there, and then you get a little ticket, and then you get a really good seat at Fantasmic, and you don't have to like fight the crowd or like camp. That's the biggest perk, is that you don't have to camp. Sometimes people for a certain show or a parade, they'll sit in their spot for like an hour or two, and I personally don't want to do that. I do go often, but I don't go often enough that I just want to sit in one spot doing nothing for an hour or two to catch a show. So that's why I really liked the Fantasmic dining package. We're going to do the princess dining package this next time around because you're supposed to be able to meet all the princesses. They just like walk around, they come, all of the princesses come to your table, you get to meet them, they can sign your autograph, you can take a picture with them. It might not be every single princess, but it's going to be a ton of them. And I'm in my princess era right now, so I'm so excited. Plus my sister loves princesses too, so it's just going to be a really awesome experience. That is all of my tips and tricks for how to enjoy yourself at Disneyland. I would consider this more of an elementary level intro to Disney. If you want something that's more collegiate, we can definitely go into it. I can do a part 2 and get into the nitty gritty of things, but just leave it in the comments. Thumbs up this video if you do want to see a part 2, and I'll see you next time.